Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of Reinvent and Rediscover. I'm your host Ava Laurie, and on this podcast we talk all things the in-between and transformations, finding areas of growth in your life and spotting weaknesses and truly optimizing your life, becoming the best version of yourself. This week I want to talk specifically about surviving unemployment and making the best use of your time and kind of reframing your mindset around unemployment as well. I know right now the job market is so tough, especially where I live. I live right outside of New York City in the general area. It's very competitive right now. A lot of people are unemployed, a lot of people are stressed out, and I truly think the stigma around unemployment needs to be lifted a bit. It's got to give, because the way that you view your unemployment can have such a negative impact on the way that you view yourself, and it can begin to devalue yourself and lower your confidence. And on this podcast, think of it as a confidence boot camp, okay? Like, I'm teaching you how to be more confident and feel more aligned with yourself and constantly find ways to reinvent yourself and level up in life. And if you are currently unemployed for some reason, that's okay. Like, there is no need to feel negatively about it at all. Whether or not you got fired, let go, you quit, it doesn't matter the reason behind your unemployment, but I really want to get into that feeling of shame and the stigma around it. And know that it's okay to be unemployed, because it happens. It's a transitional period of life. I like to talk a lot about transitional periods of life and reframing the way we think of them. In my last episode, I talked about being in an off season, and I think part of that off season was quitting my job and dealing with unemployment. And a lot of people, when I talk to them about how I was a flight attendant and I quit, are very shocked, because the question I typically get asked is, what do you do with all of your time off? Are you not bored? Do you just sit around in your room all the time? Do you just sit around at home? How do you spend your time off? And I looked at unemployment through a lens of freedom that I don't want to say never had, but since I was 14, have had a job. And there were small periods of time in my life where I didn't have a job, but responsibilities were slim when I didn't have a job. Like when I was living with my family and didn't have to pay bills, I didn't have to pay rent, I didn't have to be a functional and productive member of society. It didn't really matter at the time. So there was no pressure of unemployment. And yes, there are real life stressors. So this is maybe a privileged perspective, and I just want to say that I admit that it is what it is, and everyone's situation is different. So I do want to preface it by saying that this may be a privileged point of view from what I'm saying, because when I quit my job over the summer, I had a little bit of money saved up to figure it out for a few months and go from there, make something happen. But I was really determined to find a job that I aligned with and truly felt like was a good opportunity for me to grow and learn more about the business world. I'm trying to dip into corporate America, okay? Controversial, I know, but I want to be a businesswoman. I want to learn about things. I really want to get into marketing. I really want a job that aligns with me, and I was not aligning with my job. And I've talked about alignment and how important it is to align with your environment and the things that you are subjecting yourself on a day-to-day basis. And at the end of the day, you have to face the fact that our job and what you do to make money and to work, to live, takes up so much of your time. And where you spend your time really matters to your mental state and to what you are able to accomplish in life. So if your job is taking up too much of your energy and draining you all the time, it's not a good fit for you. You're not in alignment. And I talked about that in that episode of, if it is truly draining you so bad and you are not feeling aligned with the job that you are doing, maybe you should quit. And like I said, maybe that's kind of a privileged thing to think because I had just a little bit of leeway. I knew my lease was ending. If I still couldn't find a job, I'd move back home with my family, and it's fine. It's not optimal, but you know what? It's going to be okay. So I always knew that it would be okay. But taking the risk, taking the jump is so important. I feel like I never had a really clear example of someone taking a risk on themselves growing up. My parents played it safe in life, and I applaud them for creating the life for themselves that they have and providing our family with stability. But I kind of feel regret on their behalf. It's almost like secondhand regret for not chasing their dreams and not taking a chance on themselves and taking big risk. I was never shown what that meant. And when I became a flight attendant and I told them about it, I was talking about how I would probably do it forever, even though in the back of my head I had that like twinge that it was going to be temporary, but I had only ever seen just staying in the same career for a lifetime. So I didn't know what was in store for me. And yeah, anyways, I pulled the plug and I quit, and it was a risky decision, not having a backup plan, not having a job offer, but sometimes taking a chance on yourself and dealing with a little bit of that transitional, like sucky period of time can reap you so many rewards. I think it's patience that truly rewards people, because I know that what I want out of life and career wise and a fulfilling and successful career will require me to beg for more and to work harder and to learn more things. I want to feel challenged in my career, and I want to feel equipped with tools to better my own personal brand and what I have and the services I have to offer the world. I want my job to directly impact the things that I'm doing in my personal life for the better, because I'm going to be working most of my life to provide and to make money and whatever. So I knew what I wanted out of a career, and it took me a while to learn what I would want out of a career. But all of this goes to say is that if you are in a period of unemployment for whatever reason, remove the shame. I think it is becoming so much more normalized to have time periods of unemployment. So don't be down on yourself. Don't feel like a failure. Even if you got fired, even if you got let go, even if your job did not end up offering you a full-time position after a trial period, even if it feels like a door slammed in your face and it wasn't just a door close, reframe your mindset, because what you are doing is rewiring your brain. You are rewiring the way that you feel about yourself, and you are devaluing yourself for no good reason. It's it's not productive to make yourself feel worthless because you don't have a job. What you are saying is that a job translates to worth. We should not place our self-worth in our career. Our career or job should only be bettering ourselves and our life. It's not meant to make your life worse. Working is not meant to make your life worse. And getting fired or leaving a job is not meant to make your life worse either. Embrace the freedom that you have right now and find ways to truly take advantage of the free time and the time off. Even though I will say, The past few months have been so stressful because moving and knowing that my lease is ending, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know if I'm gonna get a job in like the last minute. I don't know what's going to unfold for me, but I try to keep pushing that stress and those ruminating thoughts behind and just think, Ava, it's going to work out. You're gonna find a job. It's going to come together. And putting so much pressure on it is not going to make it better. It's only going to make my life mental hell. You know, I'm only going to be causing my reality to be worse than it actually is based on all of these thoughts that I have surrounding my unemployment and the fear of other people's perception, the fear of people judging you. Let all of that go because their timeline is not your timeline, and maybe you're choosing better for yourself. If you did get fired or let go, there's got to be something that's more in alignment with you out there then. Whatever happened that caused you to be let go means that you weren't in alignment for whatever reason. Even if you messed something up, okay, clearly that was not the job for you. So be patient in this transitional period and hold on to the remembrance that there's something more, there's something better for you if you are patient and you continue to believe in yourself and put your best foot forward. Don't crawl into a hole and start to feel like you are worthless, because I promise you, you're not. And like I said, and I will reiterate this, your worth should not be placed in your career or your job. Your worth is not your job. It doesn't equate to that. There are so many things that make you you, and you should use this time to really discover that. Use it to your benefit. For me, I started zeroing in on what do I want the second half of my 20s to look like. I have always, since I was little, dreamed of living in New York City. I've had that premonition since I was a kid. And being a flight attendant, becoming a flight attendant, got me out to New Jersey. I couldn't move into the city as a flight attendant because the commute was too tough, the prices was too high, I wasn't going to be able to afford it, the commute was going to be really bad, reiterating both points I just said. But it wasn't feasible for me to be a flight attendant and live in New York City. But that job opened the door to move closer and have more access to opportunity. So just because that door closed doesn't mean that it didn't propel me steps further to my actual dream. So I was thinking about that, okay? This is what I want out of the second half of my 20s, but what does that really look like? What does that look like for me career-wise? What does it mean for me to feel fulfilled in my career? For me, that is the ability to make an impact. It's the ability to show my creativity, and it's having autonomy in the workplace and not feeling like a rag doll, not feeling like a puppet, not feeling out of control. I always felt out of control of my time. Time is money, okay? That's been said for years. Time is money. When I was wasting time as a flight attendant, literally, I was not getting paid for so much. And I was working all the time. I was always everywhere. And that's fun. Sustainable? No. I was wasting a lot of time, wasting a lot of money, and I was beep bopping around the world, which is really fun. But the next chapter of my life, I want it to look like the wheels have hit the ground running and I'm grinding my tail off. Like I'm working my off. I don't think I can cuss on here. I used to, by the way. I try to remove that. But this phase of my life, I want to work so hard at establishing a career and living in New York City. joining poetry groups, finding my community, finding people that I love, and really establishing myself. I had already grown all the way up to the ceiling from where I was previously. So now I get to step on that ceiling and use it as a floor and take the top off the roof. There is no ceiling. So anyways, use this time period to think about what your ideal next chapter would look like, so that you're not willy-nilly applying for a bunch of crap. And I understand, like, we get desperate and we just apply for everything. I went through plenty of phases where I didn't even know what I was applying for. I would just, any of the suggested jobs, apply, 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 apply. I was throwing stuff into the void. Like I said, I totally understand, but it's much more efficient if you know what you're actually applying for and you have a very specific goal and a very specific job that you want. I knew that I needed an entry level like marketing position because marketing would allow me to connect the dots between my creative side and my strategic side. I have never worked a job where I'm able to combine the two and be both client facing and people based, but also be on the inside doing some creative work, running some numbers, doing a bit of everything. And that really speaks to me. I'm interested in growth in all aspects. That's what this podcast is all about, is growth, internal growth. So I'm interested in that as far as like scaling businesses and whatever, the marketing side of things. And yeah, I don't have marketing experience other than the fact of little like TikTok things I've done or my own personal marketing. That's not going to stop me. So have a non-negotiables for what you want moving forward and be really clear in what you actually want, because it's important that you know what you are actually looking for, because you can't find what you don't know. You cannot find what you don't know that you're even looking for, because how are you going to know when you found it? So get clear goals. Think about what you didn't like about your past job, what you would prefer to have moving forward. Think about non-negotiables. What does my actual ideal career look like that would make me feel fulfilled or be more enjoyable to spend this next part of my life doing? Think about that. Also, if there's some sort of career that you want to go into, but you don't feel well equipped enough to go through the interview process, or you feel like there's stuff you need to learn, take some courses. I was looking at Coursera or like Google courses. I think Coursera is on Google, whatever. I was looking up like digital marketing courses. I enrolled in some. I don't know that I ever completed a course because something about it irritated me. I can't even remember. I think something was too like remedial and I had to pay way too much for a more experienced course. Whatever. But if you feel like it will make you feel better moving forward to get in some courses, put that on your resume, like courses I'm taking to fulfill whatever, like certifications. Get certifications if you need to. There's ways to get certified in different things on, I'm pretty sure Coursera offers certifications. If you take certain courses, it will give you an actual certification that you can write on your resume. And that shows that you are willing to take initiative and learn whatever you need to learn to get the job that you want. So if you are unemployed and there are things that you feel like you need to learn or get certified in, do it. Take the time, because now you have the time, now you have the opportunity to certify yourself. Another thing, get as smart as you can and soak up as much knowledge as you can. The last time I have had the ability to just freely learn stuff was when I was actually in school. But when I was in school, I didn't value my education near as much as I do now, because it was required that I was getting my education. But now I get to actually choose topics that I find enjoyable, go out, find books on those topics, write essays if I want to, write whatever I want to write on it, like a Substack post, take notes. I take notes sometimes and then I watch a YouTube video to think about what I learned and solidify my knowledge of something. And yeah, not all of it is really sticking to my brain very well, but I've taken the last few months, I'm listening to enriching podcasts. I'm watching things that are enriching. I'm paying attention to the content that I am consuming because I have spent a long time just consuming junk. And we are all guilty of just scrolling. And yeah, sometimes we need to turn off our brain and just enjoy entertainment. But if you're not employed and you don't have like a lot of life responsibilities, like you're not a parent or whatever else, then take the time to learn and maybe consume enjoyable, actually beneficial social media. For me, I also started signing up for newsletters like the New Yorker, the Aeon, the Psyche, and then I have Substack that I read. So there is stuff that I am doing to constantly try and expand my brain. Maybe you should, what I did personally, I have a second email from college that I used as a pseudonym for one of my English classes. We were like writing and reviewing each other's work, so we had to create an email. I have newsletters sent to that email so that I can log in the mornings, read the newsletters, and I'm up to date now on current events. And I'm also just reading longer form content. And yeah, I probably had the time to do that when I was employed, but I'm trying to create habits that I can take with me into employment, like reading things that are providing me with knowledge of the world and current events and things that I don't typically, I'm not typically knowledgeable about. Okay? So find ways to do that. I like to go to the library every week and check out some books. Maybe you should do that, and also pick out some fiction books that you just find enjoyable. Read some more romance novels. Like, do whatever makes you happy. Use this time to figure out your hobbies. What do you find enjoyable? Go hiking, go outside, try something new, try new things, because what is the risk? You can't, there's no risk in just exploring yourself. And know that as soon as you get a job again, especially if it's going to be like a 9 to 5 or something, you're only really going to have the evenings and the weekend to explore your hobbies and the things that you enjoy doing. So if you have all of this free time, you might as well use it to the fullest extent and really optimize your time and pay attention to where your time is going. Act as if you were employed, even if you're unemployed, because that is the best way to stay productive and stay on top of things. For me, I don't like feeling unproductive because for me, that equates to laziness. I am not a lazy person, so if I'm doing nothing and being lazy for long periods of time, count me out. I get bored. I have to constantly be doing things, so it's important that I'm constantly finding new ways to stimulate my mind and keep myself moving as well. Also, if you have all of this free time now, find an active hobby that you enjoy. There's no excuse to not be active. Just because you're unemployed does not mean you should be lazy. You should actually probably move more than you were. Okay? For me, I don't want to say I'm back from injury. I had a running injury because honestly, I've been running recently and it feels like it's coming back up. Pray for me. But on a real note, you should be very active or find an active hobby that you enjoy. Maybe you didn't have time to train for a marathon, but it's always been a goal of yours. Well, if you're unemployed, perfect time to spend 4 hours running every day. Not every day. Not every day. Not every day. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Once a week. But now you have the time to run almost every day and train hard, and you have the time for the long runs. Or maybe you've always wanted to get into cycling, but you've always had the excuse that you don't have the time. The great thing about this is that these habits that you start to create can infiltrate into when you get a job again, and you can just carry on those habits that you are actively creating now. The habits you are creating now is going to set your life up in the future, and the days that you comprise of, you are teaching your brain to find normal. So if it is normal for you just because you have no external responsibility to do nothing and you don't have any intrinsic motivation, create intrinsic motivation. Because this is going to turn into you getting a job, and as soon as you come home from work or log off for the day, or as soon as you're done, you do nothing all night, and then you feel like you don't have a life, and you feel like upset because you don't have any hobbies and your life revolves around work. Well, you know how that happens? Is you've never explored what you actually enjoy doing. So if you're unemployed, stack some habits up and make your life enjoyable. You have no excuse not to. You have no excuse not to go to the gym every day or run or whatever active hobby it is. You need to get your body moving in some way, shape, or form. You need to be leaving the house. You need to be doing something. You need to be creating, exploring yourself, zeroing in on your goals for yourself, working on yourself in whatever way that it may look like. Think about all the times in your life while you were working that you were putting off projects or tasks or things that you needed to work on with yourself, but you always put it off because you said you didn't have the time. Reflect back on all of those things and do them. If you are someone who loves to go hiking and you love to drive an hour to go hiking, but you never have the time because even on the weekends you feel too tired and you just want to rest and recoup and recover, why wouldn't you do that while you're unemployed? And now you have all this freedom. So reframe the way you think about it and use this freedom to your benefit to get better, to get stronger, to get fitter, to get smarter, to get clearer on yourself, a better sense of self, a better sense of your place in the world and in the job world. Figure out as much as you can figure out about yourself and what you want. This is the perfect opportunity of reflection and assessment and setting yourself up for the future. Use it as a challenge. How many things can you learn? How many hobbies can you figure out? How many habits can you stack? How fit can you get? How hard can you train? How many miles can you go outside and bike? Can you learn a language? Learn how to knit. Learn something new and enjoy it. Learn how to cook. People all the time, especially people in corporate America. I'm always sitting in my bed on this podcast, by the way, pretty much. People in corporate America love to say that they don't know how to cook, they don't have time to cook, so they don't eat breakfast, and then they DoorDash dinner at night. You have all this time now. Learn how to cook. Learn how to meal prep. Learn how to cook quick and efficient meals that you actually enjoy so that when you get a job, you can just bada bing, bada boom. Easy peasy. You know? What I'm saying here is that you should be figuring out how to create lasting habits in your life that will transmit into a stable career that will make your life better in the future. Okay? This is the perfect opportunity to do this. So use it as the time to level up, move forward, and not be down on yourself and think negatively about this time. Actually, you should be thinking about it as an opportunity. Another thing is not with those feelings of negativity is to not allow yourself to slip into desperation. You don't want to settle. You don't want to slip into desperation. And yes, times get really tough, and sometimes you have to just bite the bullet and do something to do it. But if you are going to do that, create a mental barrier between your self-worth and what you're doing, because if you are in an environment out of desperation, you are creating a low vibration around you, and it's going to impact your view on yourself. That's why I never picked up a job that I didn't truly want or that I didn't truly align with, like being a bartender. I don't really go out drinking. It's pretty rare. It's only going to be like with friends or on an occasion. I don't want to be in the bar scene. I don't want to be around drunk people and kind of in that low vibrational state, because it's going to put me there mentally and it's going to set me back. So it's actually going to push the needle back instead of pushing the needle forward towards my goals. So I have to think about that. I don't want to pick a job out of desperation, and I don't want to deduce myself down to desperate, I'll take what I can get mentality, because as soon as you put yourself in that, I'll take whatever I can get, so when you end up settling and putting yourself in a worse position than if you were to be patient, work really hard on trying to be the best version of yourself and be the best competitor in whatever field you want to get into, and figure out how to get there. So anyways, this is all about surviving unemployment and changing the way that you view it, and remembering that you are still so worthy, and whatever dream it has that you have out there is still feasible, but you have to put your head together and work hard, and that's totally okay. Use this time to level up. I hope you took something from this episode and know that you're not alone. If you're unemployed, I'm rooting for you. I am rooting for you. And as always, I will talk to you all in the next episode of Reinvent and Rediscover. Until next time, live passionately. Bye.